Wait, he hypnotizes you?
Yeah.
Fuck out of here. Welcome to Honest Tattooer, guys. What's up? My name is John Mesa, and Honest Tattooer is a podcast where we get tattoo artists, I always say the same thing. Tattoo artists and tattoo enthusiasts. We pretty much discuss different topics over the tattoo industry. And this week we have a special guest, and it's our friend Basilio. What's up, brother? How are you?
How you guys doing?
Pretty good. And like always, my co-host, Matt Triano. What's good, brother?
Hey, what's going on, man?
We're doing fucking great. So, Basilio, we've been trying to get you on here, but you're a hard man to track.
I'm always doing something different.
That's big facts. So one thing that we usually do is to just introduce yourself, tell us how long you've been tattooing, and a little bit about your style of tattooing.
Okay, my name is Basilio.
What's your Instagram?
Basilio Tattoos. I've been tattooing now for I think it's gonna be 15 years. That's crazy.
This time flies, right?
Man, everyone that we talk to has been around that same amount of time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Cool.
My style of tattooing is it's like I tell every single one of my clients, just come in and let it flow.
Come on, figure it out.
I'll tell you that
I don't want to plan nothing.
Your style of tattooing is illustrative black and gray tattooing with awesome fucking renderings and great balance, bro. And I think I've always loved your tattoos, man.
You're amazing.
Oh, thank you, bro.
John is a staple.
One thing that, working with you was, being impressed by some of the things that you would freehand and seeing the things that you could do. And I was like, damn, dude, that's fucking impressive as hell, man.
Thank you, man. Don't gas me up too much.
When did that become your go-to process? 'Cause I feel like everybody just has a different artistic process.
I'm going to tell you why, actually. And I don't know if this is the answer because everything just kind of happens and then you got to then ask yourself, how did this come to be? But I think it really started because I never used to work in a shop. And I used to travel and there was no printers. So I would just draw everything out.
So first,
and a lot of my clients are really awesome. And they just wouldn't really. They would let me go ahead.
Kind of go ahead and just do it.
I had a lot of support throughout the year.
But
so going back to why you freehand, I can name the number one reason why people freehand is because it just flows on the body so much better. You can get proportions right. You can get direction right.
That's true.
Sometimes if you're drawing on paper, it looks great on paper, but once you put it on the skin, it's like, you got to tweak it anyway. You got to whip out those markers anyway and try to make things flow a little bit better. But if you're doing it right on the skin, right from the bat, then you're one step ahead of the game doing it that way. Do you feel that way too?
Man, you guys know your stuff. I'm impressed. You guys are like, when I used to cut hair, I used to be a barber, and it was very, very consistent every day, the same thing, and it's like you're copying and tracing, and I don't want to really get emotional, but I fell into a deep depression.
Too many fucking low fades, bro.
I was good though.
Another really Caesar. God damn it.
I was really good at cutting hair. And I still love it. I can't help myself.
Yeah.
I guess, I don't know. I work from love, from what I love to do. Yeah, I want money, but
it's love and passion. Yeah.
Yeah. If you just follow the money, it's like, it's like money is great, but if you, I don't know, I can't explain it, but
it's not you could have, that's why a bunch of rich people kill themselves all the time, because money can solve problems, but it's not going to solve all your problems. It can solve some kind of direct things of just the roof over your head, food in your belly, clothes over your back. But at the end of the day, that doesn't necessarily fulfill every human need. You know what I'm saying? Within relationships, your own mental self-care and all those things.
Yeah.
There's a theory that the most successful people aren't the people with the most money. It's the people who are the happiest. And if you're doing something that you love every day, man, then you're successful.
You're crushing. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. You're living a good life.
That's what it is. And so when I don't know. Yeah.
Well,
sorry,
you were saying, you
were
shy. You were working as a barber, and you were feeling You were feeling down. You were feeling depressed, and you saying that's what you were going through at that moment in your life.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. And
How'd you snap out of it?
If I were to stencil out every single tattoo, I'm gonna have a lot of repetitive tattoos, or it's gonna be like, this is a plan. This is a plan. I'm planning this. To me, it's like every day I'm like, I don't know what's gonna happen.
You like the spontaneity of it all.
That's exactly. And I love living my life like that. Everything I do, I don't give a fuck. I know a lot of people that they plan out everything, and I'm like, nah, I can't do it, man. Don't call me to do that. I'm just not gonna do it. I don't care if my life is a mess. God always got my back. So, but when I freehand something, I never know what is gonna happen. But as I'm building up the shapes, I'm like, oh, that's what my brain wanted to do. Okay, cool. That's what happens.
And it's like fire. But I think in that process, like I can understand that like a lot, just because like I usually create the tattoos, within the 24 hours, the most, but a lot of tattoos that I do now happen that day, and like I tell my clients that during the consultation, and I'm like, look, everything that's going to happen, it's mainly going to happen that day. I might stencil some things. Like the other day I started a phoenix and I only stenciled the head of the phoenix. Everything else I freehanded just because it was going to be over a shoulder. There was going to be a lot of things,
Yeah.
So I was like, but that requires a lot of trust.
Yeah.
It requires a lot of trust.
It does.
From your client,
They give us a lot. And it's something that we have to acknowledge and appreciate. And that's what in the moment makes me always kind of fulfill my I'm not gonna lie and say, oh, I'm always thinking about how grateful I am that but I'm like, nah, man, this client is gonna pay me, they're gonna go through pain, and they're gonna give me something permanent and their body forever. Let me do my best.
I couldn't agree more, bro. There's things about me as a tattooer that fucking suck. Guys, terrible with time. Terrible at time management. You ask me, hey, how long do we got left on this tattoo? I'll be like, about an hour. It'll be 3. I tell you the tattoo's gonna start around like 1 o'clock. We're gonna start at like 2:30.
2:30 o'clock.
2:30 o'clock. 2 to 3 hours later.
I'm
than
terrible
what I
at
said.
telling time.
Yeah, man. That's not my forte, bro. But at the end of the day, I just want to do the best tattoo that I can possibly create.
Yeah.
Sometimes that takes time.
And John goes there.
I know I've said this before. Like I spend a lot of time preparing for my tattoo designs, and I'll spend like hours drawing the night before, leading into the morning of the tattoo appointment to make sure that everything is prepared as I can. I'll even go as far as fully rendering and coloring a sketch beforehand.
I've seen you at work.
So when you're freehanding on the spot right then and there, and you don't really have a plan, do you ever feel like, man, I wish I was a little bit more prepared for this, and I wish I had something to kind of look at as I go? Or do you really just thrive off of that? Like, just wing it?
That's a good question.
Well, all right,
I'm not gonna lie and say that it doesn't happen, but I always tell myself, you're here and you know that you don't want to go back to the sketch, because that's gonna fuck you up. I mean, you're tattooing for a reason. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be completely honest. There's times where it's like, I wish I had something better.
Yeah.
But
I think everyone's gonna think that no matter what.
Yeah, even if I drew it, I'd be like, oh, I should have redrawn that shit this morning. You know what I mean? Like, it's just part of being a critical artist and looking at your own work. Like, fuck, it could be better, and no matter what,
I try to stay. I try to stay right in the sweet spot where I could accomplish the most.
So when you're freehanding, are you looking at reference, or is it all from your mind?
Sometimes I'll look at a reference, or I'll even put the reference far from my face, so that it's not completely a reference. Because, you got a tiger and you're looking at the tiger and he's right here, and you got all these details, and that could be a little bit disturbing to your mind.
In art school, they'll tell you to squint your eyes while you're looking at your subject, so that it'll kind of give you like a silhouette almost, or just like a blurry version of what you're looking at, so that you don't get too focused in on the details at first.
There you go. I'm gonna give some blow-minding for giving forbidden information.
Go.
Like, you have to have a focus when you're working on people's permanent body. I mean, it doesn't cost you anything to just focus for a few minutes or a few hours and give your best work to that person. That doesn't cost you anything. But I feel like we can apply more life lessons to our crafty job. I feel like we could apply more like, self-help, self-improvement books, stuff like that. Prayer, meditation before you start a tattoo is very important. I don't draw out something like Matriano does, but I do look at an image. I want to know what we're going to do tomorrow because it's going to be my last thought at night. My first thought in the morning, I'm probably going to dream about it. And then as I'm showering, brushing my teeth.
That's what you're thinking about.
Taking a dookie.
That's my process. Yeah, bro.
I'm thinking about your tattoo.
Yeah, bro.
I'm going to be in the cab. I'm thinking about it. And I'm like, yeah, this is going to be a home run. And I even put myself in the zone of like hitting a home run, like, do the effect like that. I hear those sounds in my head.
Yeah, like I want to knock this shit out the fucking park,
my client is gonna cry today, and sometimes it happens.
Yeah, and sometimes you get that out there.
Maybe from the pain, or maybe because they're happy.
I think, like, for example, I mean, you tell me if you can relate, but like, for example, like I feel like I thrive under a little bit of pressure. Like there's something about like that little like. Yeah. Like I like to play pool a lot, guys. I like to play pool a lot, and I play better when there's a bunch of people watching me. I play better when I'm playing somebody that's better than me. Like there's a level of focus that just I can't attain if I'm just playing casually by myself. You know what I'm saying?
I can tell you exactly what it is. It's your human nature of competition to try to be better and outperform the people around you.
Around me, yeah.
Or at least impress them.
Or do it. So it's kind of the same thing when I'm like doing a tattoo, like on the spot. Blah, blah. It's like it creates that same feeling of like focus within my head. I get in like that tunnel vision mode where I can really like,
that's real.
It's like playing in the fourth quarter and you're just like, all right, I'm fucking trying to crush this right now. You know what I'm saying? It's like, there's just something that clicks on.
I feel like everybody has something different.
Yeah.
And it works. It works for them. It's like Kobe had a dark side. Michael Jordan had a dark side. So I actually have a dirty little secret. His name is Dom the Hypnotist. I want to give him a shout out. He's amazing. I started working with him 3 years ago. He's amazing.
Wait, he hypnotized you?
Yeah.
Fuck out of here.
No. So it's actually.
Let's hear it.
So I even want to become a hypnotist. Don't do that.
That was perfectly timed.
But so there's a lot of motivation that we have. What motivates us? And it's usually something dark or poverty. I was broke. Didn't have no girlfriends. I ain't talked to no girlfriends. I used to be a barber. Eddie was the one that was like, yo.
Let's get you out of here, bro.
Yeah, you that's why you don't got a girlfriend, bro. You're working in a barbershop. You only see guys. So I used to be like that, depressed. And so my motivation for many years, it just came from being broke. And it was like, damn, I don't know why I can't save up any money. So after speaking to Dom, it was like, we got to the bottom of it. And it was like, I enjoy being broke because it motivates me.
It creates a drive.
Yeah. So I'm always like on the edge, but that's where I do my best work.
You just put so many therapists out of business right now.
Yeah. You guys gotta give up your therapist and go to Dom the Hypnotist.
Well, like what we were talking about earlier, like, money's not necessarily going to give you happiness, but that's clear and very evident for the people that don't have any money, because they still find ways to laugh, to share things with the people, to love, and to like have happy times without the money. You know what I'm saying? So like, you can still achieve, those feelings and those needs without money. And I feel like sometimes when you have all of the money, then those problems are a lot more apparent.
All right, let's put some structure back into this show.
Why are we talking about money? Like
what? Something that we do every week that we didn't do yet is we go around and we talk about one tattoo that we did this week that we're either proud of or just whatever you did. So what?
Okay.
What you tat this week?
What'd you do this week?
I did the Jesus thing on the hand. You know where they have like
the Jesus hand job
in front of the camera.
Yeah. Dude, my favorite one of those is the Bruce Lee one.
I was
The
going there,
Jesus hand job, bro.
It's the one where he's crucified, and you become one with Jesus because your hand becomes Jesus' hand.
Oh, I know.
So the first question I asked him when he came in,
Did you do the stab in the palm?
The first question I asked him when he came in was like, well, so which arm are we doing it on? And he was like, the left. I said, I know you were. and then what happened? Oh, I kind of made a video, but then I was like, nah, man, this generation is too weak. I was like, I feel old, man. I was like, I made a video and I'm recording him and I'm recording the sketch, the freehand that I made, and I'm like, no more paja. That's it. It's over. And then I was like, should I post this? He was like, oh, I don't care. And I'm like, damn, I really want to post this.
Oh, you had the societal consequence.
You gotta. Even as a tattoo artist, you gotta.
Yeah, no, we gotta walk those sometimes.
It's just you get judged, yo. Like,
John, what'd you do this week?
I'll talk about what I finished today. Today, I'm so pumped. I finished a leg sleeve today, and that thing has over 30 hours into it for sure. People ask me all the time, like, how long I posted this good dude's leg, Frank's leg, multiple times, and people always like, dude, how long did that take? I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Frank doesn't know. I don't know. We don't know. We're not keeping track. We just it's like I always tell people, those projects are like marathons. If you start running on mile 1 thinking about when this is going to be over, bro, your brain is going to just be like, it's not going to work, bro. You got to just start that journey and just stay focused on the end. You're going to finish it. Just, you're going to have sessions that are 5 hours long and have sessions that are 3 hours long, and just keep it consistent. Don't stop. And that's what he did. And he's finished both full legs in 2 years. It took 1 year to finish the first one. It took about 1 year to finish the second leg. And we had like one break at one point because COVID.
Man, you're doing
impressive.
the whole leg?
The whole leg.
From ankle to ass cheek.
I never measured the leg properly.
Yeah. And he's a tall dude, which is what's crazy. Like, he's a big guy. That could have been faster on a normal sized person, but he's a big dude,
Cool.
What about you?
So I'll talk about what I finished today too. I started a half sleeve on a guy back in September, and it's an owl on the front of the arm and a skull on the inside, and there's poppy flowers all around. So today we colored in the inside with the skull and the poppies. It was pretty cool. Earth tones, warm.
Yeah, those look sick.
Yeah.
I majorly only like using warm tones on fucking tats.
Me too.
There's something about like the cool tones that they work for some people, but not all people.
Man, so I had my thing all colored out today, and I had the skull was like, bony ochre colors. The flowers were bright red, and then I had like a laurel leafy kind of thing kind of creeping over the skull, and I had that a very warm kind of like an olivey green, and it looked great on screen. But once I started putting that first tone of green in the tattoo, I was like, man, like this is starting to compete with the warmth of the skull itself. So I actually went cooler on the leaves to kind of give a little contrast.
Yeah.
And it felt so foreign to me. Like I didn't have any cool greens to pull out. I had to make my own.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it looked cool. I was happy with it. He was happy with it. Yeah.
What do you want to talk about, Matt? I feel like you have a lot to say.
I want to talk about, where do you work?
Talk about something else.
You're like,
no. You know what I want to talk about? No.
Inquiring minds want to know.
I have a it's a tax office.
There's a tax office.
Yeah. There's like an undercover tax office.
Oh shit, guys! You can get your taxes and get tatted at the same time,
right.
and give him your deposit, your tax refund.
That's the point. So, see how it's all set up is you get your taxes and you get a tattoo right after. It's perfect.
All right, actually,
it's really a tax office, though.
It really is a tax office.
I got something good. So you took off your shirt mid podcast. Now we got to talk about it, bro. You got no tattoos. You actually have twice as many tattoos now than you did when I first met you. So you got 2 tattoos.
Yeah, I don't understand. I feel like,
you don't want to look tatted, bro.
Don't judge me, tattoo community, because you guys are kind of crazy when it comes to that. I just never. Now I'm just getting to the point. I would love to get a tattoo by you, John.
Bro, let's work.
I want to get a tattoo by Brian. I want to get a tattoo. Every tattoo artist that I've tattooed, I have to get a tattoo by, because they've all gotten a bunch of tattoos for me, and it's like, damn, man, like I don't have any tattoos, so there's a lot of pressure they put on me. I gotta get a tattoo.
You gotta get some tats, bro.
They always bring it up.
If what kind of stuff are you into? The same kind of tattoos that you do, or completely different?
That's where I get stuck at. I don't even know what I want. I like black and gray. I would love to get tattooed by Jose Lopez. Or Jose Lopez, yeah, especially. No, I don't really care though. I love Jose Lopez. I love Jose Lopez, but it's like I just kind of want to get started, you know. I want something just tell a story, you know, what happened that day. And
So what are you waiting for?
huh?
What are you waiting for?
It hurts, bro.
That shit hurts, bro. He's like, I know. I see people's faces when I do it. It looks like it hurts.
One comment that I see a lot, because you're not the only tattooer that has little to no tattoos. And one comment that I see a lot is people are like, man, I don't want to get tattooed by somebody who doesn't have tattoos, because they don't know what it feels like, and they don't know how to like either back off, or like they don't understand what they're putting me through. Do you ever have you ever been told that?
Yeah, like,
I don't know, but actually, a lot of my tattoos are kind of gentle, because they're kind of over the skin. It doesn't mean I've had a lot of like, for some reason, this has been the month of like sensitive skin. People have sensitive skin. It's a thing, but
I mean, I know that's why they make lotion for sensitive skin.
literally,
Yeah, dude.
they have allergies.
They have
like
things.
that.
Yeah, there's people that have
Like,
sensitive skin, man.
I have a client that fell off a third story on his back, and he used to be a boxer, and he works in construction every day. I couldn't even get close to his skin with the needle. It wasn't a lie. I wasn't even touching his skin, and it would get red. It was wicked. It was weird. It was like, damn,
You too sensitive.
yeah.
Bruh. You too sensitive.
Be like, why are you being such a bitch?
Yeah, bro.
No, they're not. They're sensitive. The skin.
So let's talk about like the initial topic. Let's talk about freehanding tattoos. What's your process, man? So like usually I've seen you like freehand stuff where like what we were talking about, sometimes some reference, sometimes no reference. But let's say, simple example, somebody goes, hey man, I want to get Jesus. Upper arm, what would your process be? Like, how would you go? Like, we're about to start now.
I always learn from mistakes, and every single day I learn. I do a tattoo, I go home, and I'm already like judging the whole thing, what I could have done different.
But before, I want to hear it. Like at that point, you sit down. What's happening? Are you gonna look at? I mean, you've done.
Oh, so it's like like Matt was saying earlier that when you freehand something, it's like you could go with the body and everything like that. Because there's some people that is like they want a certain spot on their body, and then you got the skin tone, the muscular structure, the space between tattoos and everything like that, and then you're like, I can't find a reference for this space, and I know I could draw it up much better.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No, I mean that sometimes works the best,
Yeah.
you know, in a given situation.
Like you can't find the reference, you can't find it no matter where you're looking, and then you're like, I got you.
Basilio, have you done any like formal training in art? Have you gone to school or taken any classes or anything like that?
I went to, what is this place called? The Institute of Art or something like that?
Yeah, the Art Institute of New York. Yeah.
I went there, but I took 4 classes. And actually this is way before tattooing. I had a class with David Kazan.
Oh shit, that's cool.
He was
an amazing painter.
I didn't even know. And then years later, I'm seeing him. I'm like, wait a minute, I remember this guy. Yeah.
What year were you there?
Oof, I was like
Don't say 2004.
15, 14. Yeah, 2004 and 2005.
All right, I was there with you.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, you see?
Yeah.
John, and that's how you ran into each other too. Look at how I ran into John. I was like 13 years old, and I was out with these all little hoodlums.
How are you? How are you there at 13 years old? That's not possible.
When I met John?
No, different place.
Oh, okay.
We were gonna go doing graffiti, and we were too young. We were like little. Now look at, if I see a 13-year-old walking around here, I'm like, yo, Where are your
We're
parents?
parents.
And it was like 5 of us, like maybe like 7 of us. And then we were trying to get spray cans and they wouldn't sell it to us. And then I saw this guy walking and I'm like, yo, man, you get us some spray cans. We're going to do something very illegal, but we're too young.
Stop touching your mic, man. You're killing me. Stop touching the
Don't
mic.
touch
You're
the
killing
mic.
me.
So
Sorry,
you
bro.
can hear it.
So I saw John, but I didn't know who he was, you know. And I'm like, hey, man. And this is all the way in Canal Street. And then it was in the scrapyard.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, can you get us some spray cans? And John was like, yeah, sure. he got it for us, though. He was cool. And I was like, yo, thank you, man. And then I come back to 181st, which is where I used to work in the barbershop. And I see him again. I'm like, yo.
That's where I started tattooing.
Aren't you that dude? Yeah. I was like, yo, aren't you that dude? You were in the scrapyard. And I think you remember me. You're like, oh, shit. And then I didn't even know I was going to start tattooing. Like,
Yeah, at that
tattooing was
moment,
never like a
thing.
No, because 2005, no internet. Like, Cav D used to be a tattoo artist, but I didn't know if it was like a career.
So in 2005, you were 13 years old?
I was 15.
And that's when you started tattooing, when you were that young?
Actually, it was 2005.
It had to be at least 2005.
I started tattooing 17 years old. So 2 years after John.
Okay. You never answered my question. Did you do any classes or did you learn from, like, how did you get into drawing more at a professional level than just, being a little kid drawing on your doodle pad?
So I used to always love drawing. Like I would have so many sketchbooks always lying around, but I could never, like, my ADD or whatever it was, I could never stick to something. And it's still like that. Like, and I notice a lot of artists go through the same thing. There's a lot of artists out there, talented people, and they never develop it. And I understand. It's like you're sitting at home with a notebook and it's like, who's going to see this? And what's the point? Am I going to get paid? Is it just going to help anybody and stuff like that? But I'm going to tell you something. Do it anyways, because you never know. And then you're like, yo, somebody's going to see you. And then, wow. So when I started and I wasn't around other artists, surround yourself by other like-minded people and everything you do. That's so important.
So is that where you learned?
That's when I used to always like drawing. I couldn't help it. It was like, if I wasn't.
That's when you started taking it like
Since
seriously.
I was a baby, if I didn't have a pen and a paper somewhere, if I was somewhere after like 5 minutes and I'm bored and I can't fit in, I'm like, hey, does anybody have a pen and a paper? You know? But I was never really good. But when I started tattooing, it was like, oh, and I had just came out of a psych ward. I was depressed. And so when I got to the tattoo shop, it was like, this is my second chance to live. And look at how beautiful this second chance is.
Yeah.
Eddie saved my life.
So still, where did you learn how to draw? Did you take any classes?
In the tattoo, I learned. You know, it's funny. What is considered a class? I'm going to tell you what's considered a class. Motherfucking Andy, motherfucking Eddie, Brian.
Hans.
Oh, of course. No, Hans, of course. I was thinking about this. Oh, Hans helped me out a lot too. Bro, it was just like a combination.
Okay.
That was like the dynamic team. It was an amazing team. It was a dream come true.
Because you could tell the difference between somebody who's been drawing all their life, but never really was taught, this is how anatomy works.
This
is how you structure a face, right?
It is visible. I know.
And, but like I could look at your work and you could tell that you know what the fuck you're doing. It's not just.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of mistakes. Thankfully, my work used to be very light back in the days. So my mistakes are fading away.
I mean, that's like, you're, I feel like, I've seen your work over the years for a long time. And I've seen your stuff go from exactly what you're talking about, where your stuff looked too light. And I feel like sometimes that's confidence. Like that's a level of when you're still second guessing yourself in tattooing, you're scared to go too dark. You're scared to punch blacks in like solid when it's like, this shit needs to be black right here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and then same thing, when you don't have the level of confidence and control over your lights, over your lightest tones, you're like, oh man, this is going to be a light tone, but I need to saturate the shit out of this light tone. I can't just be like flicking it out. Like, no, I have to like saturate this light shade. Who gives a shit if it gets red as fuck? You start like taking like less, you take more risks. You're like, yeah, I'm going to freaking shade this face hard, you know, and then when you're not confident, you're like, oh man, I don't want to go too dark on this face, you know, but over time you start building that confidence. And I think like for you, I saw a combination of like, you got more confident with the tools of tattooing, but I also saw you get more confident with like with your drawings, you know, overall. And like, you know, recognizing, you know, creating better anatomy, better things, even off the top of your head, you know?
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. Then I, you know, went from one school to the other. I worked at Big Joe's. I learned a few things there, a lot, you know, different things. And I learned a hell of a lot with you guys. And
awesome, bro.
Yeah.
Hey.
You guys are amazing.
No, bro.
Dude, to this day, still.
Yeah.
I was even doing it today. I'll have my reference of something that I drew that has black just punched in from like wall to wall.
Solid
big fields of black, right? And I'm like, yeah, that's strong. Like that's going to make for a good tattoo. And then while I'm tattooing it, sometimes I still have to push myself. So I'm like, oh man, this is a lot of fucking black, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I know. So I got to force myself to do it because I know.
Yeah.
But like, that's just what you're saying. Like you have the confidence to do that.
The confidence to do it. You know?
I'm going to tell you, it's like the answers are outside sometimes, but they're also within, yo. Like if you want to do something, just do it confidently, but measured.
Yeah. I think like one thing that for a younger tattooer, like, in order to increase your confidence when you're tattooing, preparation is major key. You know, like what we were talking like last week where, you know, I was showing some old tattoos, things from 10 years ago. And I like one of the best ones was one that the one thing that I did differently at that moment in time 10 years ago was that I was much more prepared for the tattoo, the design and anything, and it helped me tattoo better that day, you know? And then over the years, I've gotten much more confident without necessarily needing that level of like
that visual aid,
you know? And I feel like that's the difference. Like, you know, you can build that confidence, you can build your style, and especially like in tattooing, like, you know, if you're asking me to draw some, you know, cherry blossoms for you or like a chrysanthemum or even a Hanya mask nowadays, you know what I'm saying? Like I've done that so many times in my career that I can like, oh yeah, I've done this so many times. I'm going to mix all of my memories of all of my fucking things and I can create something new out of it. And I feel like in your case, since
of course,
since you've done so many different designs,
there's like a melting pot.
Yeah. And then, you know, that helps you just overall tweak. Like if you drew hands before, bro, and you fucked them up once, bro, you probably couldn't sleep that night. And you're like, next time I fucking do some hands, those fucking mistakes are not going to happen again. You know what I'm saying? And you can go back and refine that shit a little bit, you know?
Let's get a little bit deeper and further. Like what were the things that led to you being like artistic? Because there's always something. There's something there. I mean, it could be genetic.
Yeah, I think mine is genetic. My when I was young, I always remember having a pencil in my hand. I was always drawing, but I never really cared too much about it. I had my aunt who was a painter. I mean, she still is, but at the time she was doing like really odd paintings on things that like you wouldn't necessarily think of painting on. She used to paint on rocks. Like she would look at a rock and be like, oh man, that looks like a squirrel.
You don't have one of those rocks here?
She would paint a squirrel on that rock. And
you don't have one of those cool rocks?
I mean, I'm sure I do. Probably somewhere, yeah. But yeah, or she would paint.
I'm just kidding.
She would paint on a window screen.
Yeah.
And like all the window screens in her house had her paintings on it.
Oh shit, that's crazy.
From like the street, you would look at her house and you see all of her paintings on the window screens. But on the inside, it was cool. You can't see them because they're only on like the outside of the screen.
Yeah.
So she taught me how to paint in her style. Like she did a lot of like these kind of like folky, flowery kind of like.
Man, I would love to see it. That's cool.
I forgot what they were called. I think they were called like one stroke paintings where like you would load the brush with a couple of different colors and just make one stroke. And then that would be like your leaf.
That's a whole leaf. Yeah.
And then you would do like same thing. Like you would load your gradient. Exercise. You would load your gradient of like red to white on your brush. And then do a couple of strokes and then that would be your flower. Like she taught me techniques like that.
Yeah, I've seen those things.
I could see that in his style of
Look good.
tattooing.
So
It's very like kind of like that.
yeah, so she was the one who kind of introduced me deeper into drawing and art, and she was a great calligraphy artist. Also, she taught me a little bit about lettering. Actually, there was at the time I was dating a girl who just graduated high school, and I wanted to paint her something, and I painted her a champagne bottle, like the cork just blew off, the studs going all over the place.
Yeah.
And I wanted to write, congratulations, on the painting. I was like, fuck, I can't do this. So I had my aunt do it for me. She never knew. Girl never knew. But yeah, I think I got a lot of that, like naturally just being in the family. And then my aunt was helping me out a lot too. And I owe a lot. I even tell her to this day, like I owe a lot of, my success to just her kind of pushing me a little bit.
That's awesome.
That's really cool. What about you, John?
I would always draw a lot as a kid, but all the cards, every cartoon I got into, I would just try to draw it eventually.
Yeah.
And by the time
we used to draw the S.
oh yeah, everybody yes. But then once I was like, I'm gonna say at least like 10, 11, that's when I first got into my head that I wanted to be an animator. I wanted to be an animator. I remember when I was a little kid, my mom took me to Disney World. We got to do the tour that takes you into the back and you get to see all the animators draw cartoons when they were still doing it like on shit. And I was like, wow, that's what I want to fucking do.
That's cool.
And then that's when I got into my head that I wanted to be like an animator or something of the sort, And then life happened and I became a teenager and wanted to be a gangbanger because that's what rap songs were saying. That was cool. And my life, kind of just took a turn and a lot of things changed in my life. And I kind of took a step away from art for a very long time. And then it wasn't I would still do it for fun. Kind of like what you're saying, where like, if I was somewhere and there was a pen there, I'd grab it and I'd start doing something with it, But I wasn't studying art at all. I wasn't studying it. And then it wasn't until much later when I started getting tattooed and I was going to school for art, but not necessarily for like fine art or anything like that. I wanted to be a designer, and mainly focus on clothing design. But I got to take some in order to be in that career, you had to take some general art classes. And around that time is when I started getting tattooed and met Eddie. And
you didn't go to FIT, did you?
No.
Okay.
And that's when I was like, oh shit, man, I think I want to go back into art and really study art more. Yeah. And then instead of going to school for art, man, I bought books. I bought all the Loomis books, all the Andrew Loomis books, drawing faces, drawing hands, drawing, fucking expressions, all of these techniques, and that's kind of what helped a lot.
I've mentioned this book before, but Guy Aitchison's Reinventing the Tattoo. There's a whole segment in his book about muscle structure and the way that muscles actually flow in directions. Specifically, he talks about this so that when you're designing your tattoo, you want your design to flow with the muscle, right? So when you're freehanding a tattoo, you have to kind of think about you want your design to work with the shape of the body part that you're going with.
Yeah, one of the biggest things that he describes is about the big S curve that's going on with the upper shoulder bicep area, going all the way around. It's a giant, infinity symbol going down right here. Yeah. And if you kind of follow that S curve, it definitely does make your designs work better, move better. And even chest designs, what we're talking about, the chest muscles, I think moving like this, you want your design like that for sure.
I think composition, ingenuity, and placement are the bomb. That's where it's at. And it doesn't have to be this genius design. No, it's just just putting it in the right place where it's nobody got it. And
that's one thing about freehanding though, that I think it's actually like where you were saying that when you freehand something, it helps it fit the body better. I agree. But sometimes I think it's perfect. And then after it's there, I'm like, and this is one reason why I stopped freehanding things for a while, was that sometimes I would freehand something and I'm like, oh man, I should move that like 2 inches to the left. But there's no fucking way I'm going to redraw this whole fucking thing. Let's add a little more right here just to even it out or balance it out. You know what I'm saying? But
you know what? Like, I understand why you wouldn't want to redraw that. But if you planned it out and sketched it light to begin with, and you mapped,
I could have moved it.
You could have moved it.
Yeah,
you could have.
It's a moment of like rushing the pre-sketch,
and you know that goes very far back to what you were saying before. Where you don't want to get too involved in the details. If you start drawing like the details of your design so quickly that you're not really paying attention to where this design is on the body, you're going to have like, oh man, this fucking face looks awesome. And then you take a step back and you're like, fuck man, it's not in the right spot. Whereas if you just kind of like loosely, quickly, just kind of through like a gesture drawing and really fast, you get it in the right spot first.
Yeah.
Or if it's off, then you just, wipe it off and start again. You're only a couple of minutes into it.
I would say that's one of the things about your freehand, bro. Your freehands are so loose, bro. Sometimes I'm like, how the fuck is he gonna fucking make a tattoo out of this, bro? Because you put very little detail sometimes into
I've cheated.
sketch.
I've cheated before. I'll like freehand it and then I'll make the video. I'll wipe it off and put the stencil.
Keeping it real, bro.
Once or twice. I have done like just a tattoo. Like I've done that before.
Mm-hmm.
I would.
You mean like no drawing, no stencil, just straight tattooing right away?
Like maybe I'll do like a quick little like, all right, he's gonna be in this direction. Something. I don't remember quite one, but I know I have done something like that where I'm like, damn, that wasn't there. But now the way he does it is amazing, though.
Cool.
There's also that one guy that does almost every tattoo is like just freehand. Like he's not even like free machine. What would you call that shit? Because he ain't even drawing it. He's just like going machine to skin.
That's the one I'm talking about.
Okay, his name is Aaron something. I can't remember his fucking last name, but this some British dude, I think. And if he's gonna do a face, he's gonna start somewhere with like the eye and just keep building off the eye. Then you see the nose, and then the whole head. It will be there eventually.
So that's incredible, right?
Yeah, it is.
To be able to pull off a face like that, dude. I saw one.
He's like he never misses.
Dude, I saw one the other day. Free tattooing, whatever you want to call it. This guy started drawing lines up and down. I'm like, all right, where's he going with this? Turned into a grill from a car. Now he's building out a hot rod. I'm like, oh fuck. Now he's building out like the road that the hot rod's on.
Oh shit.
He's got signs. Now he's doing lettering. Like signs on the street.
Get out of here,
I'm like,
bro.
what the fuck, dude? Yeah.
There's a whole other level out
bro.
there. There's a whole other level out there.
Yeah, that's fucking nuts. When you travel and you do tattoos when you're traveling, you're more likely to have to freehand things on the spot and do it like that. So when I was doing conventions a lot, that was one thing that I was like, oh man, you had somebody come up and they're like, oh, I want this. Like, I ain't got time to draw this shit. I gotta just draw it on, you know? And that's how I got into the habit of freehanding a lot of things. And for a while, like that's all I was doing. And during that time, like I learned a lot about just freehanding and drawing and build my confidence up on doing freehand drawings and things like that. But it also, sometimes I'd be like, oh man, if I would have been able to fully render this, I could have probably just tattooed it faster. Not necessarily that it could have been like that much better, but it could have been just tattooed faster overall because
you thought it all out. You didn't have to think about it on the day of.
On the day of, because, it's different than back when I wasn't as experienced and it was like, oh man, that drawing could have been better. It's like, no, that drawing was still really cool. It's just that it probably could have took like a third of that person sitting there and feeling them get tired of just me going about.
No, Basilio, actually, I want to talk to you about this now. Let's talk about the logistics of this. So when you're sitting down with your client, freehanding on them for however long it takes, do you charge for that time?
No.
Do you charge by the hour?
No.
Okay, so you just give them a price and this is the cost of the tattoo.
Yeah, and it's negotiable too. Like depending on like how I'm feeling and and like it's just not how I'm feeling, but just like, hey, do I want to give you a $3,000 tattoo for the price of $1,500? because I'm feeling very creative right now. Or maybe I'm only trying to give you a $2,000 tattoo for $1,000.
So the price that you give them includes the time to set up and draw and all that. Like that's all built in.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, I feel like, that's just doesn't take much. But this is why I tell my clients, and it's like a golden rule where it's like, just come in. I'm not gonna draw anything out. But that's not a bad thing. It's not because I don't want to or because I'm lazy. It's just I know that the way I prefer to work, and the way I'm more productive and give my best work is if you just come in. I know what I'm doing with what I'm doing. Now, I don't take away from other artists that work differently. And I tell my clients, hey, if this is not for you,
that's fine.
That's fine.
All right.
Let's wrap it up, guys.
No, wait. What?
No, we're done.
We're done.
Good.
Hey, guys. So thank you guys so much. We're going to have Basilio back at one point or another because he's got more shit to say. But anyway, guys, we're going to say, one, thank you guys for watching. Always make sure you follow us on YouTube, Patreon. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you can get some notifications about the next post and things like that. And follow us on Instagram. And most of all, yes, on our Patreon, and support Honest Tattooer. Anything else?
No, that's it. Have a good night.
Thank you for hanging with us. And that's it.
Yeah. You're done. You're cut off.